Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to Idioms Insight.
You know the drill by now. We take a whole stack of sources, find the absolute gold, and give you that essential shortcut to being instantly well-informed. And our mission today is, it's foundational, really. But the insights we're pulling out are anything but basic. We are dissecting the core tools for, discovery and real conversation, the famous 5 W's and 1 H, if you've ever felt that. That slight hesitation when you need to switch from just making a statement to actually asking a good question, this deep dive is for you.
Absolutely.
These 6 little words, who, what, where, when, why, and how, they are the framework.
They are.
They make you an active commander of information, not just a passive receiver.
That's the key distinction, isn't it? We're not just, defining vocabulary today. We're setting up a structural roadmap.
Right.
The material we're pulling from this week, it's from some high-level fluency programs. So this isn't for absolute beginners. It's for people ready to move past just memorizing things.
And into real conversational confidence.
Exactly. And mastering these question words, and maybe more importantly, their grammar, is honestly the single most efficient way to unlock that fluency.
Absolutely. So for you listening, the goal here is to really internalize the correct structure, nail the functions, and get rid of those awkward pauses that happen when you're mentally translating. We want these questions to just roll off your tongue. So let's not waste any time. Let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We're going to walk through the 6 pillars of inquiry, but let's focus less on the obvious definitions and more on, the strategic use and the common mistakes. Let's start with WHO.
Right. So who's your dedicated word for people? Simple enough.
For subjects or objects.
Exactly. And what's interesting in the material is how often people overthink it. It's actually wonderfully simple. Who wants coffee? Or who did you speak to?
It works for one person or a whole group. The word doesn't change.
It doesn't.
Now, here's a quick insight to take this just a little bit deeper. We mostly use who. But if you want to sound particularly precise, maybe more formal, especially in writing, you sometimes see whom.
Yes. Whom.
Whom is used when the person is the object, the one receiving the action.
Right. It's a high-level check, but honestly, even most native speakers just skip it in conversation.
But it's good to know it exists. It shows a deeper understanding.
It does. It's a marker. Okay, so now let's hit the real workhorse of the group. What?
What is? It's chaos and order all in one word.
That's a good way to put it.
It's for things, actions, information, concepts. Basically anything that isn't a person. And here's where it gets really interesting for professional settings. If you want to know what someone does, how they fit into the world, you ask.
What do you do?
Exactly. What do you do?
And that single question immediately brings up the most crucial piece of the puzzle. The auxiliary verb.
The do.
Yes. The analysis shows that the pattern what plus do or does is one of the most common question structures in all of daily English. It shows you right away that the question word is just the ignition key. You need the engine to actually make the question go.
That's a great metaphor. The engine. Okay, so since we're talking about actions, let's talk about the context for them. We'll move to location with where and time with when.
Right. So where is pretty straightforward, places, locations. But the complexity isn't the word itself.
It's the prepositions that come after.
That's it. You ask, where are you going? But the answer needs precision. I'm going to the market. I live in Paris.
I work at the library.
Exactly. The question word just sets up the type of info you need.
And then when. Strictly for time, dates, intervals. And the key thing for you, the listener, is just how flexible it is. You can ask about the past. When did the company start?
Or the future when is the deadline. It's your essential tool for scheduling and setting expectations.
Perfect.
And next up is WHY.
Why? This one is the most demanding of the 6, I think.
It is, because it asks for a reason, a justification. It needs an explanation.
And this is where strategy really comes into play. If you ask a direct why question, it can sometimes feel a bit aggressive.
Depending on the context, a little challenging.
For example, asking a colleague, why did you miss the meeting? Can sound like you're accusing them.
Precisely. That is a fantastic insight. A lot of native speakers will instinctively soften it.
How so?
They'll say something like, could you explain why? Or what was the reason you?
So it shifts the focus.
Yeah.
From demanding something to just seeking information.
Exactly. But of course, for casual conversation, the material reminds us you always have that great comeback.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly.
Okay, finally we get to HOW. And this word, it covers so much ground, it's practically its own deep dive.
Oh, absolutely. How is the heavy lifter of the group?
No question.
If you just think about its uses, it starts with the most common, almost mandatory greeting in English, condition.
How are you?
The universal entry point. But then it also handles manner or method. How do you solve this problem?
Or how do I get to the airport?
And then critically, how is essential for almost all measurements. This is where it really branches out.
Right into subcategories.
Yes. It dictates quantity and frequency. For things you can count, it's how many siblings do you have?
And for things you can't, how much time do we have left?
And then for habits, how often do you check your email? That versatility is why mastering how is just so key to navigating daily life.
Okay. So that's the 6 pillars.
Now, for the important part,
The structure.
the structure. This is where fluent English is won or lost. What's fascinating is that the words themselves, they're almost meaningless if you don't deploy them in the correct order.
I often think of question structure like driving a stick shift.
Oh, that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, you can't just know what the pedals are. You have to know the order of operations to actually move.
That's exactly it. And the key lesson we have to internalize is that basic structure. For pretty much every question, it looks like this. Question word, plus an auxiliary verb, plus the subject, plus the main verb.
And that auxiliary verb, your do, does, did, is, are, will, can. That's the engine you were talking about.
That is the engine. It's what flips a statement into a question.
You take a statement like, you live here. You want to ask about the location, so you add where, and then you insert the engine, do, and boom.
Where do you live?
The auxiliary verb is the essential gear shift.
If you connect this to the bigger picture, in English, statements put the subject first. You are late.
Right.
But these kinds of questions require that auxiliary verb to move in front of the subject. Why are you late? That inversion, that little flip,
Right.
is the critical move for fluency.
And focusing on that engine, on that inversion, brings us right to the common mistakes. This really answers the question, why do so many learners consistently skip that auxiliary verb?
It often happens because, the speaker is mentally translating from a language where it just isn't necessary.
Or where you can just change your intonation.
Exactly. Just use a rising tone and you have a question. But in
Okay.
English, if you skip the engine, the question stalls. It sounds abrupt, and it's grammatically incorrect.
Okay, let's hit these common mistakes hard. Because I think recognizing them as half the battle will do the wrong way and then immediately the right way.
Good idea.
Mistake number 1, for location. We often hear wrong, where you live.
And the error is just skipping the do.
So the correction has to put that engine right after the question word.
Right. Where do you live?
Mistake 2, usually about time. Wrong. What time it is.
A classic. This is the word order problem. The subject and verb are in the statement order.
Right, it is.
So the engine needs to jump forward. You have to invert it.
Right. What time is it?
Yep.
Mistake 3, often when someone is emotional. Wrong. Why you were angry.
Same problem. The auxiliary, Ari, is trapped behind the subject, you.
So you have to flip that switch.
Right. Why are you angry? Just listen to that cadence. It's immediately more fluent when RG moves before you.
It really is. Okay, one more. When dealing with money, a very common one. Wrong. How much it costs.
Here, the main verb is cost, and the subject, it, is singular, so we need the does engine.
Right. How much does it cost?
That set of examples proves it. Just incorporating do, does, is, or are immediately after the question word is the key behavioral change you need.
And that guarantees natural, correct English.
Absolutely.
That structural discipline is everything. Once you get that down, you stop translating in your head and you just start talking.
Right.
Let's do a quick rapid fire review. Let's get these common sentence starters into your muscle memory.
Yeah, think of them as templates. If you can automate the first 3 words, the rest just flows. So just repeat these to yourself. What do you? Where did you? How often does? When is?
Who is? Now let's run through some practice examples to see how these keys fit into a real strategic conversation. Try thinking of an answer for these. What is your biggest career goal?
How are you feeling about your progress so far?
When did you realize this was the right path for you?
How many steps are needed to complete this big task?
Why do you believe this strategy is the one that will succeed?
You see how those aren't just basic questions anymore.
Not at all.
They're designed to extract real, actionable knowledge, and that is the true power of these 6 words and their structure. Mastering the 5 W's and 1 H lets you move beyond just responding to the world.
Yeah.
You get the power to initiate, to guide, and to sustain a conversation. You can extract new knowledge. which really is the core of being well-informed.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? It means you have the framework, you have the tools you need to start, guide, and sustain basically any conversation. You know where to put the engine of the question now.
That's the key.
So to put this into practice right away, we've got a challenge for you, straight from the source material. Your homework. Record a short, maybe 30-second video of yourself. And in it, you're asking the question, tell me about yourself, but using 4 or 5 different question words.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, use who, what, where, when, why, how. Use that challenge to check your structure. Make sure those auxiliary verbs are firing in the right position.
And as you practice asking those discovery questions, here's a final thought to mull over.
Go on.
The 5 W's and 1 H are your tools for exploring the unknown, for demanding new information. But what if you master a different set of tools, specifically yes, no, questions and question tags, those little phrases like, isn't it, or right, at the end of a sentence.
Oh, that changes things.
It changes the goal entirely. You move from seeking new information to confirming a shared understanding, or maybe gently challenging an idea or just building rapport. So how does your entire conversational strategy change when you ask a question where you think you already know the answer? Something to think about.